Hi everyone, welcome to Appliance Advisers. I'm Francesco, joined by my co-host Dennis. Today we're going to talk about LG versus Samsung, and this is a really common comparison. We're going to look at it a little bit differently. We're going to really talk about kind of some of the overarching subjects that you should be thinking about and considering when you're looking at these two brands. So first off, let's just talk about them as a whole when it comes to reliability and service.
Yeah, not really close. I mean, and this isn't us even talking, you're going to find this. LG services at the least amount of any commodity brand we sell, almost any brand we sell. It's done an amazing job. It's a case study in how a brand can offer value across multiple suites of brands, hitting different price points with feature sets, and still maintaining quality and innovating quickly, or certainly much quicker than the American brands, not even close.
Yeah.
And then you have Samsung, another Korean brand that has chosen a very different tact, try to drive pricing down, get critical mass to drive everybody out. But they're realizing that consumers do care about quality all the while. So kind of they've just taken two different paths in this.
Yeah, and really I'd say these two brands are known for, product innovation for sure, and both really sound technology-wise within these brands, where you get the Wi-Fi built into it, the really nice controls. They really throw a lot of features into the range or into the products in general at a kind of an inexpensive price. But it's like you said, it's, the product innovation is twofold. It's a really good thing, but it depends how you're doing it. And that quality control testing and how fast you're just throwing a new feature onto the market. Because if you're not doing a lot of that back testing, now you're just throwing a product onto the market that could have a lot more issues. And maybe it's not really fully vetted before it hits the market. You're just trying to get something out there. Now, let's talk about you talk a little bit about price points. These are brands that are definitely known for value. Would you say one has better value overall? How would you compare them that way?
I'd say they both put a lot of tech out. I think LG, I think here's the deal. I think Samsung took its model of dominance in the tech, in the electronics and TVs and phones, and almost anything they put out was a home run. And they're realizing this has a lot more user interface and things that can break and touch points when it's as I've said before, an 800-pound refrigerator versus a phone you just put in your pocket and walk away with. So there's a lot of different people in the mix of this sale and things that can go wrong. And they really thought it would just be a lot easier than it was. They're a very good sales marketing company. Yeah. They are not invested in service, execution, the details of this space. I think initially they were the darling because they had tech and feature, and they loaded all these ships overseas and dropped them in box stores, and everyone bought them because it was this new fancy looking thing and it was a cheap price point, and wow, it looks so much better than my older GE or Whirlpool or whatever I had in my home. And then the rubber met the road and there was no one to call. And the service and the parts and all those things, it was just a nice pretty package put out there with a good initial story. And candidly, they pounded their chest and said, we're dominating, all the while alienating a lot of retailers because we started to sense all these service issues and problems. LG takes a very different one. Having been to Korea and sat with both companies multiple times, Samsung wants to know how to grow sales, period. That's the conversations that you talk around. That pretty marketing ad they're going to have, how do they sell more brands at a lower price and sell more physical units to get the commodities of scale, the cost of their stainlesses down, and all this to drive price down. LG certainly wants to have value, but the conversations are so different. You sit with the product people and the teams people, and they're all day, and they say very little, and they want to hear from you, and they want you to be tough, and they welcome really tough feedback. And I gotta tell you, not only do they take your feedback, you can kind of load on, hey, this is bad, this doesn't fit, this is, this is wrong. I gotta tell you, the corrections they make in the moment and what you see their actions after are like, wow, our voice does matter. And it's not just ours. I'm talking about some of the dealers, larger dealers in the country. And that's really important. I think LG has found the balance of knowing that they need to be in box stores and have scale of commodities to keep their pricing efficient and ship lots of goods, but realize that there's certain specialty retailers and appliance retailers that are out there where those customers come and say, sure, I want a fair price. I don't want to overpay for anything. Who does? But I also want to know why I'd buy it and how is the quality and how is it, what's the fit, feel, finish, and how is it going to install? I think Samsung is still stuck on, can we win by just driving prices down and loading more ships and ship it across seas, and we'll deal with the infrastructure maybe someday. And they really take their advisement from a box store first.
Yeah.
And listen, we all shop at box stores. This isn't, but the service does not exist at a box store, period, end of story, or an internet provider. You know, their hands are done once it's on the web. So they listen to those folks that just say, we need the next cheaper thing, or how, you know, just making a dollar's a thing, because once they've made their dollar, they're good. They're out of the equation. Where better appliance retailers never leave their customers. They lose money in service, but they know that they have to do that to continue to keep their name brand and be viable in a space that's, you know, so it's the same country with two just very differently. And it's right down to the app, you know, right down, you see it in their actions. They're testing their rigor, you know, their warranties they put on it in LG are 2-3 times longer. Their, you know, ThinkQ app, where they literally will pre-diagnose service calls and send you parts. They're adding infrastructure and adding more people into the US, and Samsung's cutting all the while.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. You know, we always talk about service and the reliability of it, and it's not always just the reliability, because nothing's perfect. Everything's going to need some sort of service, but it's what happens when you need the service. And you know, we're big in being a self-servicing dealer. That's a big part of what we do. But there's not a lot out there either. So for a lot of customers that are buying, and they are buying from someone that maybe doesn't service what they sell, now they're relying on the manufacturer. While most manufacturers aren't great at service, you know, you can see LG at least trying to make some investments there and trying to build up their service network for when they need to. And Samsung seems to go in the other direction for sure. Now, the next category, let's talk a little, you know, really both these companies play in that commodity space for sure. But you're seeing them more getting into the premium and professional space. Yeah. What are your thoughts there?
I mean, two very different strategies again, right? It's a tale of two tapes here. We got LG that's chosen a longer path in building a brand in Signature Kitchen Suites or an LG Studio, but now Signature Kitchen Suites being their premium brand. Disruptive with technology first, putting in things like sous vide cooking and some very kind of industry first in a premium space, but niche products. Now building out that full portfolio, but it takes longer to do, but their trajectory's been like this. And now it's really starting to grow because they offer some great value with some great products that hold up. Samsung took a different tact. Again, the easier tact. Buy a company like Dacor, a struggling company like Dacor. We sold Dacor forever. At one point, introduced convection and made one of the best convection ovens there were. But aside from a name that no one really knew, they bought this brand thinking that's all they need to do, attach Samsung to it, and off it would run. And you are seeing it absolutely, it almost doesn't exist. It's just cratered, it does not exist. They've let everyone go in the company. It's down to a shell of its former self. And that to me is indicative, you know, brands like LG, why do they have premium? Because I think it's really good to let people know, no, we can innovate, and we can innovate high quality, high touch, and we are truly in this business of making first-class products. Where Dacor Samsung considered Dacor a bolt-on, and it was just a little crowning jewel, and it was a lot easier than putting in the real work. And I think that's my concern. I think we miss a point that in COVID, the wheels came off. What they did in COVID is they got away from independent retail. It's very important. And they came to all of us. They were very upfront about it and said, we cannot ship everybody. COVID has killed production. We can't make the product we need, but our bread and butter is built at the box stores. And they fulfilled the box stores. And why now are they on an absolute rapid decline? Is because box stores they don't have service. So really, those people became an angry mob because Samsung doesn't have service to speak of. The 1-800 Samsung Cares phone number, no one was picking up. And Home Depot, Lowe's, and everyone else that sells it, and the internet provider, well, internet didn't even get it, but Home Depot, Lowe's, they don't have service. The customers just realized, wow, this stuff breaks. And we couldn't get it, so we couldn't help them. And it's not that we're upset, it's that everyone really realized, wow, do you want to sell this? What's it worth to your social reputation? What's it worth to your customer experience? And what is it worth to your bottom line? Because you lose money trying to help a brand that doesn't even care enough to want to help itself.
Exactly. No, so that's, you know, those are all some really kind of important things to consider. And definitely when you're comparing LG and Samsung, those are absolutely some things that you want to consider and some topics you really want to make sure that you're asking some of those questions to who you're buying from, but just some things to consider in general.
And don't forget to follow us on social media for appliance tips and updates from Yale Appliance.
Your feedback is what shapes our series. Like what you saw? Give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you.
Stay informed and inspired on all your appliance needs. This is Appliance Advisors signing off.